What's happening?
What's going on?
Sauce twins.
Too short.
Wait, too tall. Hey, man.
Too short.
Too tall in this thing.
Hey, man, we just want to welcome Bobby Stroupe
Yes,
on
sir.
the show, on the Sauce Twins show.
Welcome.
Founder of Team APEC, president of APEC. I mean, he's trained all types of professional athletes, multiple sports, correct?
That's it.
Yep. And, man, we really just going to dive in this thing and just we just really want to know a little bit about how you began, how you started. Like, obviously, this is your passion. And, like, what Stroupe's life looks like from when you started APEC and where you are now.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. First of all, thanks for having me, guys.
Yes, sir.
It's an honor. I appreciate it. I love seeing you guys do big things. A little bit about me, pre-APEC. I was a kid that was, I had braces on my legs when I was a little kid, like the Forrest Gump thing. I was the smallest kid in my grade till probably high school, boy or girl. I wasn't the first kid picked on the playground type thing.
Yeah.
So just my whole life, man, I was always looking for a way to not be the best, but be good enough, to have fun, get out there and do those things. So it was always kind of a part of me. And, in high school, I ended up developing into a decent competitive athlete and had some track and field records, played football, powerlifting records and stuff, and ended up getting hurt my senior year. But when I got hurt, I had a fracture in my iliac crest. It's a pretty bad injury, an avulsion fracture. And through that process, what I learned is that I was doing it for myself. It was very selfish at the time.
Yeah.
But I learned that I like the research. I like to look things up. I like to see them work. And then all my teammates started working out with me and doing things. I'm like, guys, I'm just rehabbing my hip. They're like, well, I like this. It helps me, So then I started thinking, man, I really like this. I really want to do this. And through that rehab process, I got some opportunities to run track and play college football. The track program dropped when I got there, so then I was just a football guy.
Hey, where are you from?
Man, so my dad was in the oil field, man. I'm kind of from a bunch of places.
Okay.
We moved seven times in about 12 years, but Oklahoma, Kansas, East Texas, North Texas.
Okay.
I graduated from high school north of McKinney.
Okay.
Little school.
D-Town.
Yeah. So, for me, it was always more, it began to be like, I'm not going to play pro sports. That's likely. So when I got into college, it was all about, when kids took breaks over Christmas and would do things and go to Padre or whatever, like I'd go intern somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd go visit. I was a weird kid, man. Like,
hey, we was in Padre.
Hey, we was in Padre.
You guys might have been in Padre.
Yeah.
I was reading a book.
Yeah.
Now, don't misunderstand. I still majored in girls first.
Yeah.
But that was where my head was at,
Okay.
and I was a weird kid. And so through college, I did a lot of strength and conditioning with a lot of teammates, and I worked for some Hall of Fame high school coaches. And man, I knew what I wanted to do very specifically, and I had a job in Hawaii coming out. And this is the story of how APEC came out. But I made an arena football team, and so that got delayed. Then I got to Hawaii, and when I got to Hawaii, the place shut down.
Oh.
Yeah, I turned down all jobs, didn't interview anywhere. Place shut down, and so I came back to Dallas with no plan. I mean, in October is not a good time to be looking for a job for coaching or anything.
Yeah, in the fall.
So I ended up getting a job. I had a good resume. The people I'd worked for were very accomplished, and they taught me a tremendous amount, poured into me. Like all of us had people that were, that poured into us, right?
Yeah.
And I was very blessed. Good parents, good education, good mentors and people. And so I walked into a Lifetime Fitness construction trailer, and they offered me like the GM job for fitness. And I'm like, yeah, I can do this. It'll be easy, So 3 months later, I'm like managing a Lifetime Fitness in Flower Mound, Texas when we opened. And man, when I say it was a nightmare,
I bet.
I already know.
Oh, I'm telling you. So, it's commission. My managerial shift was 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then if I wanted to make money, I had to train, and the only time to train outside of that is 5 a.m., 6 a.m.,
wow,
7
come in
a.m.
before.
Yeah, so you're there all day, taking naps in your car and stuff. And I was fortunate that some physical therapists kind of recruited me to East Texas. And my grandmother always had a ranch out here, and I don't like people. I like trees. It's a good fit for me. So it's been, man, that's the short story. That's 16 years ago. So then when we start APEC, I came here, started on a grass field. I was here for 5 months. I only got 13 clients my first summer. And it hurt my ego and pride, but it was really good. It was a really good thing. We wrote up names on a board, and the original name was like Accelerate. So we called it Accelerate Camp because my thing was speed, right? That was, being a young coach. When you're a young coach, you think the things you should coach are the things you're personally good at.
Yeah.
And I mean, I learned that that's not a good thing to stick with, but at the time, it was what we did. So then it took us a couple years to get a small facility. We built a little warehouse place, and we were there for 8 years, and we expanded from just speed to working with all sports, all ages. And man, we're on our second facility now. We've expanded to 2 locations. We do worldwide consulting, and we've got over 200 athletes in 6 professional sports. And
wow.
We're blessed, man. So just to look back at that, and to think about like those ketchup sandwiches I used to share with my dog.
It's all worth it though.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was worth it, man. Yeah. And now we're to the point where we're influencing more lives, and I've got a great team of people beneath me that are smarter than me, and they're leading this company and doing great things for people. And man, we're blessed.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, man, that's an amazing story. I guess it's really encouraging because a lot of people coming up in the industry really struggle with, one, I think, a vision sometimes. And it seems like your vision was very clear from a very early age. And then being able to stick with that vision through it all. It's huge. And that's encouraging to hear that.
That injury is what set it off.
That's crazy though, right?
That's when you find yourself.
Now you say what is in your sacroiliac joint? You had a fracture or your...
Yeah, so I had a fracture, and it was an avulsion fracture. So basically the bone chipped off of my hip, right where my hip flexor and all that fascial tissue connect.
Okay.
Because, I didn't know how to train, so I realized when I got testosterone, I could get strong pretty quickly. So I'd squat 4 sets of 5 every day, and every day I tried to beat the weight before. Yeah. And I just created a lot of dysfunction. I was a 10-500 guy. Okay. So when you create that, when you have speed, and then you also are doing that type of volume, that's a recipe.
Man, that's funny you say that because yesterday I just saw our friend Mike Boyle, who is an alumni to the show as well.
Great guy.
Yeah, he did a video yesterday about how fast guys that have more fast twitch, quick twitch muscle fibers, guys that are twitchy like yourself, they are more, I guess, like vulnerable, to injury, and you can't train these guys the same way. And, of course, we can't train our athletes the same, but just those explosive guys, just a little bit more fragile in some ways. We have to be careful, I guess, when it comes to programming and training. He was just talking about that yesterday. But
no, that's great because think about it, man. A Maserati, you don't run that on the street every day.
Right.
You drive your Ford Fusion.
Yeah.
But look, sports cars are in the shop.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go win a race with them, but if you race 6 times this week, you're going to lose because you're going to be in the shop.
Yeah.
So when you have someone that is, a racehorse or something like that, like you've got to make sure that you give them rest, man. With more power comes more responsibility. Doesn't matter if it's money or ability.
Yes.
So if you have ability like that, you've got to take that into consideration. There's more amplitude. The effect of your movement, it costs more. It costs more money. It costs more energy.
Yes. And I'm glad we're kind of flowing into this. I want to kind of ask you about one of your tweets and kind of get some more, I guess, more details and just have you elaborate for us and everybody. You made a comment that coaches leading in-season work. And it says that best injury reduction technique is appropriate game simulation speed in practice! ! Conditioning is inferior to adaptation. So elaborate on that and what that looks like for guys in a practical way for teams that are training and coaches that are trying to figure out the best programs for their athletes.
That's a great question. So First, I'll just take it back to, when college football really started changing. I would say it was probably early 2000s, right?
Okay.
Maybe mid 2000s started changing quite a bit. There were some coaches that started to realize that different pace of play is kind of a hack for a deficit in talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had Baylor and Oregon.
Yep. Speeding it up.
Start speeding it up. Yep. So why did they do that? And they were like, conditioning. Jimmy Radcliffe is a friend of mine that I've known. I used to visit him and watch him work. He was the strength coach for Oregon for 25 years. He was just a teacher before that. And he hasn't been working with them the last 5 years, if you're wondering what the problem is up there. It's probably the piece of it.
Things have changed.
I've noticed.
I mean, it is what it is. But he doesn't do any conditioning. Not any conditioning. But here's what they do. They do so many full speed reps at practice. Mm-hmm. And I mean, they don't let a guy get a rep when he's fatigued. You do not practice tired. Because when you practice full speed, even stepping away for a minute and 30 seconds, you go back in, you run full speed, you're going to adapt only to velocity-specific movements. So the problem isn't that the kids aren't in shape, because obviously they develop work capacity through 2.5 hours of aerobic work a day,
mm-hmm.
and their tissues adapt to that. What they haven't adapted to is moving that fast, that long.
Yep. Right.
And the only way to adapt to moving fast that long is by moving fast. You're not in a gasser. Like, let's take gassers, right? Like, I'm not on a witch hunt against coaches that do gassers.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that when you're running a gasser, what percentage do you fellas think? How hard do you think guys are running?
I can tell you.
I done ran plenty.
55.
What, 65%?
Maybe
at that.
So it would be similar to telling someone, like, if you want to prepare for basketball, you should do CrossFit. Well, look, I'm not witch hunting CrossFit either. What I would say, though, is if you do CrossFit or you do gassers, you gotta take serious consideration that you're programming the body to work really well and do really well at about 65% of its capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So in practice, do a full speed drill, let them rest. Now, then start decreasing the rest and make sure everything's full speed.
Yep.
And when you do more drills that are full speed and less drills that are not, your athletes are going to have the work capacity to be able to play full speed longer in the game.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about? So let's say I have a football team. I'm just thinking about this, and I don't want to do conditioning at the end of practice. After practice, you're asking guys to run more at that 55 to 65%. What about taking the guys out before and doing 3 to 4 sprints after dynamics, full speed sprints to, just kind of get your central nervous system ramped up right before practice? What do you think about maybe doing something like that? Is that still not worth it? Or do you just want to take those reps in practice if guys are so stuck on doing some type of conditioning with football practice before or after most of the time? Because I'm thinking about maybe doing some speed work before.
I think that's an excellent suggestion, and I think that it's got to be appropriate. First, if somebody got hurt doing that, it's going to be a problem for all of us. But I think most good coaches that have the opportunity to own that piece that are in our realm are going to add a couple sprints and just call it the dynamic warm-up. They're not going to tell the coach they're doing sprints, but I do think that has happened on some levels.
Yeah.
If you had the ability to do throws too, I love granny toss throws.
Yeah.
I love doing some bounds before that and then working your way to sprints. Mm-hmm. I think those things are an incredible way to ramp up the central nervous system to get the body understanding, like, this is what we need to get to today.
Yeah.
And then everything else, you're grooving that motor pattern, so now everything else is just going to be at a higher speed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea for coaches. Other thing, too, is if you want to get conditioning, do special teams and make them full speed reps.
Boy, that's conditioning right there. Punch.
Because
kick off.
Full speed,
kick off.
Get your top off.
Yeah.
You've got to play.
Yeah.
So that's another way I think is a really good opportunity to get your special teams period in and also your conditioning. Now, don't do it like this. Don't line them up and run them on air. I'm talking about make them compete.
Live.
That's velocity-specific adaptations. Yeah. And you're also going to get opportunity there.
And that's one thing. I don't know. One of the parents was talking about one of the teams out here haven't gone against.
Oh, yeah. They haven't done any
kind of first team defense against second team offense or anything. No live kind of action. Everything just been on air.
Yeah, and you want you making this exactly, bro. Like right now, we're trying to continue to build the relationships with the high school district that we're in, because we see a lot of areas where it almost looks like negligence. Like it's just like, but we're really trying to come in like on the, because just like you and us and everybody that's really in this thing, it's about education.
That's
like you said, like all of the reading and that you were doing, just educating yourself. And so like that is one thing that we are trying to do right now more than ever, is build the relationships with our district and with the coaches, and the strength coaches, PE coaches, whoever it may be, but to get that understanding. Because there's no way you can ask these kids to go to practice, like you said. They do no live full speed reps against first team D, whatever the case may be, but no live reps. And then on Friday night, you're expecting to see these guys perform at a high level for 60 minutes. It's crazy.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's a tough ask. I mean, you're talking about, I mean, one of the most prominent ways to get better at the game of football is allow athletes to get used to reacting to different angles in front of them. Like, if you don't have an opposition, then you can't react. If you can't react, you can't adapt to your reaction mechanisms. You can't get better at that.
Right.
There's no way.
Forget contact. Contact's a thing too. But
right.
I mean, if you just don't even know how to interact and make decisions on the fly, and
think about a DB that's never that doesn't get live action on a receiver trying to play off coverage and a guy about to run a post corner on you. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be.
That's crazy, bro. It was so funny too that we were gonna have you come on today, because we had another guy. I want to make sure I get his name right. Coach Jay Taylor asked how important is in-season conditioning, and we already kind of talked about that, and should it be geared towards punishment or preparation?
Yeah.
And I immediately just kind of told him, like, we were kind of split in the facility, like, you shouldn't really,
it shouldn't be a punishment thing.
Yeah, Haley felt the same way with.
But I feel like that's how a lot of the conditioning is.
That's my experience growing up high school. You condition. When you got in trouble, the team conditioned. You were late to practice, you had more conditioning. You know, what's your take on punishment with conditioning, and how does it depend on sport, with preparation after or conditioning after practice? Like, does it matter? Should it be used for punishment?
I think that's a good question. You know, I think there's a culture in football, right, that's been around a long time.
Yeah.
And that is punishing athletes with physical conditioning. I think that the problem that we're facing is, if you want to change that dialogue, everybody can point and say, well, he did it, he won 6 national championships. And it's like, yeah, but that's because everyone did it. And honestly, results and success are two different things. So just because someone had success doesn't mean it actually provided any level of result.
Okay, Bobby.
Yeah, trademark that.
Okay, Bobby.
Yeah, dropping them dimes, them gems.
But what I would say is that, you know, like, it's one thing to have guys run gassers for conditioning as punishment. It's another thing to have guys do barrel rolls and pull pads and put a water hose on. You know, I've seen a lot of variation. You know, Mike Leach is a friend of mine, and I love Mike, but I think that, you know, he's big on mental toughness.
Yeah.
He used to have a thing when he got to Washington State. He didn't think they were tough, right? So he tore up a section of turf, made it all sand. He named it Leach Beach, and if you were late, you had to do barrel rolls and pull pads with a fireman regulation water hose on you in the sand. And you guys know, y'all played. Yeah. Getting dirt in your pads and being wet, that's a special type of hell.
Yeah.
So that, you know, I don't think I agree with that. I think what would be best practice, and this is me probably ignoring some things that I'm ignorant to because I'm not a sport coach. But I think punish in a way that will help elevate the type of behavior you want to influence. Does that make any sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, if a guy's late, make him be there 45 minutes early the rest of the week. Don't make him do conditioning. Be like, you actually have to be here 45 minutes early, and you're going to have me set up practice.
Yeah.
Or, if a guy drops a pass, make him take balls off the juggling machine or stay with the quarterback or help warm the quarterbacks up. Doing conditioning isn't going to solve your problem. It's just not. So I would much more prefer for coaches to think and say, all right, how can I use this as an opportunity, as a teaching moment to actually get the behavior that I do want? And I think those are very obvious opportunities.
That's huge.
To good teachers.
Because how many times people get in trouble and they do the punishment and then they do the same thing again?
That's huge, because now I fully understand what you mean about the success and the results, because the team or whatever, that coach might still have success, but did you really get the result of helping this guy become a better receiver and catch more balls, really work on his hands?
Right.
Or, is this guy going to respect time management the same? I fully understand that now.
Association and elevation are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Look at him.
Yeah, he throwing them out there today, baby. He throwing them out there. Y'all better be listening.
Hey, have your notepad out. Dr. Stroupe in here teaching. You, boy. Yeah. That's what happened. Hey, that's what happened when you read.
Right.
Huh? Hey.
Readers are leaders, baby.
Hey, there you go. Hey, that's what's up, though. But no, that's major, because I kind of struggle with this whole mental toughness thing too. Yeah. Because I feel like there's so much to gain from just being mentally tough, just no matter what, like just in life, like I don't know, just with sports and everything you deal with. But I completely hear you, and I go back and forth with this little again,
conditioning punishment,
and this whole thing on how you breathe better, you recover better if you put your hands on your knees. They say don't stand up tall. Really, you put your hands on your knees and you will recover faster. There's this whole little thing going on about that now, and it's saying all of the science, and when you put your hands on your knees, opens up your lungs, and your rib cage can actually breathe through your lungs and not your shoulders when you're standing up. And it's harder to breathe like this and all of this stuff. And I'm just thinking, like, if you put your hands on your knees while we playing, y'all, I'm about to run the ball at him, because I know
that's that mental toughness.
So that's why I'm just thinking about the conditioning and the mental toughness. I think you just have to find that fine.
Now I'll say this. Now I done tried both. I done had my hands on my knees.
You just felt better with your,
and I done stood up. And that hands on your knees,
right? But how much
feels great?
How much more important though is it for you to have that mental toughness? Are you recovering that much faster than the person
I'm gonna
standing
go on the side of the mental toughness to where I'm gonna stand, and you're not gonna see me bending over. That's where
I don't know. I don't know. It's all,
but it does feel a little better with the hands on your knees.
I think it depends, right?
Yeah.
Because look. I think what you got to decide is it more important for your team to get recovery or have a psychological advantage? You got to make a conscious decision. I think in track and field, it's going to be fine to put your hands on your knees. But I think if you're looking across the line at a team that's got a better reputation than you, they look bigger, they look better, they look faster, they look stronger, you better sit up with your hands on your knees at any opportunity, you better sit up with your hands on your hips at any opportunity that they feel like bending over, because then you got an opportunity to get that mental edge.
Yes.
To me, that's an example of showing that mental toughness is just discipline under stress. So if you can have discipline under stress and you can gain it, you can get an advantage over your opponent.
Yeah.
That starts psychological but can become physiological real quick. You know what I'm saying? If they start buying into what you're doing, then that's a real thing. So I think just making a choice on that. I'm old, man. I don't have anything to prove. I'm gonna bend over and put my hands on my knees.
I hear you, right? Hey, I'm tired. Nah, man, I hear you. I don't know, man. I just kind of went back and forth on that, and it kind of came up today with the conditioning. So I was like, man, let me dive in that a little bit.
Great question.
Just kind of keep going with this in-season stuff. When it comes to in-season training, man, we know what we believe in making sure you're still hitting the weights in season, how important it is across the board to us. Football, basketball, baseball, whatever. I don't know. How there's some belief that, especially, I don't know, we're dealing with trying to educate these people, make sure that they understand what's important. But you also put on here strength training for gains 2 times a week minimum. Now, you didn't say strength train to maintain. Like, I'm sure that was on purpose. What is that? What did you mean by strength train for gains? Because I think we think we know what you mean, but what do you mean by that?
If you're not striving to get to improve your strength, and I'm talking about in a measurable way on certain lifts, then there's no way that you're going to maintain what you came into this season with. And I actually think that in season is a good opportunity to make things simpler. And I think that there is a good opportunity to still increase your maxes by about 10 to 15%. And the reason I think that is because you're not going to be doing as many of the things as the offseason does to beat your body up.
Okay.
Play the game, and you're not going to have as many workouts. So if most sports coaches are honest, they're not going to get in the weight room more than 3 times a week, and that's at max.
Yeah.
They're just not. So you're talking about doing very basic lifts. I mean, most guys can't hang cling and power cling. You've got wrist and shoulder stuff that's going to be common problems.
Yeah.
You've got all kinds of things. And I would say if that's something that people are all hung up on and they're like, no, we're going to do that, well, you need to have a plan for when guys have wrist and shoulder injuries. And what I would do is do a lot of throws. I would do a lot of throws at maximal force and try to, rate of force development. You're trying to do it as fast as possible.
Explain the throws to the people that probably don't know what you mean by a lot of throws.
Yeah, so throws would be granny toss throws. You take an implement that it could be, it could be a sandbag or a med ball that ranges anywhere from, we go as light as 2 pounds to as heavy as, 60 pounds. It's between your legs. You throw it as high as you can, max height. What does that do? It gets that proverbial, that triple extension. But really what it does is it creates speed through that system. It teaches your body a neurological speed that you can apply to power. So it would be the same thing that you would hope to get with really good Olympic lifting technique.
Right.
Except for it's way easier and you can do it. Now, if you have kids that have tight hips, you can throw a med ball backwards overhead and you're going to get better extension of the hip flexors and optimize that system. I also like rotational throws because you can work power. If you have a wall or if you want them to partner up, all those things are great because they teach the central nervous system to ramp up those movements for velocity instead of just having stability.
Yeah.
And all those things are important. But the problem is if you completely neglect power, there's a chance that you're not going to have it even though you build the strength that you want. So I think that's a key component in in-season training too, and it doesn't take very long. I mean, you can do a whole power workout in less than 5 minutes. Pretty easy.
Be done with.
Yeah. So that's maximizing your time.
Yeah.
That's maximizing your time. If you don't have a lot of time, then you have to, like you said, simplify things and be strategic about your plan, especially in season.
Another thing I heard my boy say is you better have a plan for the guys that have the wrist problem.
Yeah,
everybody.
Goodness.
We've been having on, we pretty much on the same page.
Yeah,
being able to modify
and adapt. I mean, you got to you know how social media is. You see social media, and we just see guys that consider themselves, I guess elite or good in this field and don't have a plan for injured, hurt athletes or athletes that might not be able to perform, what you consider full range of motion. And just, to me, that's a huge no. Like, there's no way you can be in this field and not have a plan for your injured athletes and have a plan to modify every single day on your feet, on the go, throughout the workout, it just makes no sense. And we see it. We just see that junk all the time.
And what I say is, you need to have a perfect world plan, but you better have third world decision making ready.
Right. That right there need to be on a t-shirt too in here. But we're gonna start a shirt. We're gonna start a shirt company off of your little quotes.
I'm loving it.
But yeah, no, this has been amazing. This is great, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Taking your time out of your busy day and your life, man, to get on with us and just chop it up. Because that's all we doing, just chopping it up and giving us gems and
just trying to rub shoulders, man. Yeah. That's it. Learn from each other.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys are doing awesome. And any time that I feel like, all of us want for people to get what they deserve. We want people to see the best in themselves. Our mantra is be the best you. So it's like, look, if that's going to be our mantra, then we got to empower everybody that we can in this community to help every single kid, every single person protect their future and be the best version of themselves. Because, man, if not, what are we doing? If we only want to influence people in front of our face, the technology, so we have no excuse, man. We got to get out there. I got to get out there and learn from you guys. You guys got to get out there and learn from people like on our team. I mean, like the Mike Bulls in the world and all that. This is how we all elevate, and this is how we help solve problems for people.
Yeah.
So,
hey, man, we couldn't
be available for that, man. I appreciate being somebody you consider.
Hey, absolutely, man. We couldn't have said it any better than that. Hey, make sure you guys go and follow Team APEC, Bob Stroupe on Twitter, Instagram, any kind of information that you can get from just staying in tune with the social media. We've been following them for a while. I've been kind of peeking in on all of the sessions, back when you were, training Mahomes, the whole nine, man. It's amazing hearing your story today. And again, man, we just can't tell you how thankful we are, to have you on. So,
yes, sir.
Appreciate it, y'all. Sauce Twins, holla at us. Out of this thing.
Appreciate you guys.
What will you sacrifice to be great?
Make sure y'all go and add Sauce Twins.
Turn on your notifications.
Holla at your guala.
Hey, if you got any questions, hashtag Ask Sauce Twins.
Yeah, hey, we might have to put that phone. People asking, can they phone in to the shows? I might have to see what kind of gadgets Rome got. Put us on live.
New, baby.
Red phone right there on the desk. A red phone.
Yeah, hey, that'll be live right there. Call in.
All right, now.
All right, boy.